to a new vlog. This is another buddy read vlog, another book club vlog, because I did do a book club vlog last week. So our weekly quote is, "I do think that families are the most beautiful thing in the world," by Louisa May Alcott. Yes, families are beautiful. Found blood, and families just exist in all different ways, and honestly, yeah, that is beautiful and it's making me kind of emotional. So let's go through the weekly TBR. We have, I just got done reading here for the day, and that is Misbehaving at the Crossroads, Essays and Writings by Honoré Fannin Jeffers. This one is a collection about what it means to be a Black woman in the United States, going all the way back to the 1600s to the modern day. Like the one I just read was a letter to Barack Obama. So this one is it will rewrite your brain chemistry of what you thought you know, or putting words to stuff that you've seen. Very impactful. Next we have Wild Dark Shore by Charlotte McConaughey, and this is the main focus for the vlog. This is the book that my book club is reading this month. If you guys would like to join my book club, it's always linked down below. It is the Fable link, and that is where you'll get like my live spoilery thoughts, and you'll get to share your thoughts with the books and reply to mine, and it'll be a lot of fun. But let's read the description, because I know pretty much what this book's about. It's a new release in March 2025, but let's see. Dominic Salt and his 3 children are caretakers of Shearwater, a tiny island not far from Antarctica. Home to the world's largest seed bank, Shearwater was once full of researchers, but with sea levels rising, the Salts are now its final inhabitants. Until during the worst storm the island has ever seen, a woman mysteriously washes ashore. Isolation has taken its toll on the Salts, but as they nurse the woman, Rowan, back to strength, it begins to feel like she might just be what they need. Rowan, long accustomed to protecting herself, starts imagining a future where she could belong to someone else. But Rowan isn't telling the whole truth about why she set out for Shearwater, and when she discovers sabotaged radios and freshly dug graves, she realizes Dominic is keeping his own secrets. As the storms on Shearwater gather force, they all must decide if they can trust one another enough to protect the precious seeds in their care before it's too late. If they can finally put the tragedies of the past behind them to create something new together. A novel, a breathtaking twist, and dizzying beauty and ferocious love, Wild Dark Shore is about the impossible choices we make to protect the people we love, even as the world around us disappears. I love like climate-inspired books, and I have read another book by this author and loved it, but it wasn't a full 5 stars, so we will just have to see where this one goes. I am about 15% into it. Next we have my mood read that I started last night, and this character is very relatable, very self-aware, and that is Beverly Bonnefinche is Dead by Kirsten Seeley. I think this is, I don't know if it's self-published or indie published. Socially awkward and anxiety-ridden Beverly Bonnefinche only loves 3 things in life: her parents, books, and a homeless man named Bill. Without them, the only way Beverly manages to get by each day is with the help of a peculiar coping mechanism that allows her to dissolve her feelings. It's only when a series of twists and turns threatens to unravel her new life and her mind that Beverly must determine if she's got it in her to stop trudging through life and finally start living it. I love those kind of stories because that's like where I am in my life. Then we have my ebook, and that is Edge of Eternity, Book 3 of the Century Trilogy by Ken Follett. I hit the 1,000 page mark last night, and we are dealing with countries not really being happy about being behind the Iron Curtain, and just the brutality of the Stasi, which has been a theme throughout the whole story, because I didn't even know who the Stasi were before this series, so that just shows what we're learning in American schools, which I'm not throwing shade at teachers, because I did have pretty good history teachers. A lot of them are like memorialized in my mind, because I love history. That was always my favorite thing. But yeah, every time when you get more towards modern history, I feel like that'd be really hard to teach, because it's so modern, it's still fresh in our minds. Like, we're in the 1980s in this, so like, I know some of y'all were alive, like I was born a few years later, so like, it's still pretty fresh and still being settled. So I do think modern history would be hard to teach. So if you're a teacher, let me know, because that would be interesting. Do you think modern history is hard to teach? But I'm gonna watch some Netflix, I think, and yeah, I'm gonna go into a funny story for y'all. So y'all are gonna see how messy my desk is. This is my desk right here. You see this? I know, you're gonna see all sorts of things that are on here, because I want to put them in my journals or just stuff that I have thrown over there. But this computer, we're gonna do a zoom in. This computer I've had since 2017. I got it for school when I was, still in school back then. And a few years ago, back in like 2022, I would say, it just stopped working. The screen was black. I would press the turn on button, the modem or the tower would turn on, but the screen wouldn't turn on. Nothing worked. Then I go to reset the Wi-Fi last night and the computer randomly turns on. Fully functional and everything. Has not worked in 3 years, randomly turned on. Now we'll turn this back to me. We need to zoom out. How does that happen? My computer is a zombie. I'm here to talk about Wild Dark Shore with y'all. I read 44 pages, getting me to 27% of the way into the book. I don't know why, like these chapters are pretty short. You will have the occasional chapter that is over like 20 pages at like 23 minutes. That's how I do my Kindle books, is by minutes. I don't know why I'm reading so few pages a day with this one, but I'm still getting to like the percent that would be typical for me. It usually takes me 4 to 5 days to read a book, but we're going through the notes now, starting on page 40. I'm like, does Raph, I guess that's how you say his name, have something to do with the death of his mother? We know that this family, especially the father, has a secret, but I don't know what the secret is. And something with this writing style is that it's just very matter of fact, and I am somebody who does like that. It's not leaving a lot for interpretation. Well, I mean, there's, as I said, both parties have kind of mysterious backgrounds, so you are still like thinking and everything, but it's just very matter of fact on the way it was story. And so when I first got into the book, I saw Rowan, who is the woman who washed ashore. I saw her as the threat that she must have, is bringing bad news with her, like she's up to no good. But now, today, I'm feeling the reverse of that, which I haven't had a book do that in a really long time. The last one I can think of was Normal People, where it was just like going back and forth with who I, preferred, who I was rooting for, and now we're having that same kind of deal go on. And oh my gosh, I see Delilah jumping out there. She's chasing bees. Okay, me getting distracted, that happens. So now I feel like Rowan is in trouble, and that this family, especially the dad, Dom or Dominic, he's the one that is up to no good. A quote that I liked, and it is quite long, it's 2 pages. I turn away and take in the island instead. Tall green mountains, their tops shrouded in gray mist. Rocky cliffs, there's a prehistoric feel to it. An overwhelming sense of the ancient, of time, of something chilling. It is the bones, I think, and the bloodiness of the kelp, the black sand. It's the colors and the isolation and the outlandishness of the animals, the mist. I feel overwhelmed by the place. Despite its beauty, I am frightened. And then this is a quote that I think, which is why I love climate fiction, and just a big theme here. When you read climate fiction, you know absolutely nothing about what nature is capable of. The power of it is ludicrous beyond your capacity to prepare for. It has a mind of its own, Mother Nature. It's crazy how all of this happens. It's so inspiring. It makes you feel so small, but at the same time, it's like, I get to be a part of this. Love nature. Love nature writing. Right there. But another theme I'm picking up on is animals and humans, which seems to be popular in like the last now 3 books that I have read of what makes a human, which back a few years ago, that was one of my favorite themes to read. I have nothing against it anymore. I don't have anything against it. It's just not my, number one theme at the moment, but it is something that is so interesting. So only is meets the sight with sadness and a sense of nature's disregard for the fairness of dignity, a sense that the world shows no pity for animals. She sees the way they eat each other, eat the worst bits of each other. Somehow she's imagined people to be exempt from that disregard. So, when a body is decomposing, that is what she's comparing it to a body decomposing, to seeing what happens to animals out in the wild when they're dead. And humans, same thing happens to us. Now I'm curious, so we know there is no mother, and something happened to the mother. I'm thinking that she died giving birth, but I'm not sure. Also, we have Raph was good friends with a guy named Alex, and I do think they were a couple, and that might be causing some of the feud between Alex and his dad, that his dad might not approve of him being gay. I don't know if he's gay. I don't know if they were a couple. If they were, Alex would have been older than Raph and it would be illegal. There, I don't know actually what the legal age is there, but in the United States it would be illegal. So that's very intriguing. And then this last quote here, it says, it feels like a game of chicken with her. Like, who is going to like fall for, not fall in love, but like who's going to admit to their shadiness? Whose mystery is gonna come forward first? Who's gonna admit to lying first? And that is what this whole book has been about. It's like, okay, you're both kind of shady, but which one of you is going to admit you're shady, and which one of you is actually the scary one? So right now, as I have hit over the 25% mark into the book, I am getting 3-star vibes personally from this. Like, it's good, but it's not wowing me in any way. A lot of it is very reminiscent of Migration. It's very similar, that we just have the girl with the shady past. She comes across this group of people. Now, obviously, like, it seems like it was not intentional, that she comes across this group of people. The man who is the leader of the group also has kind of a mysterious past, but the only difference is the setting. We're in the Antarctic now rather than the Arctic, and but we're still in like a climate catastrophe, like climate change is impacting the world. We're still in that kind of world, but also like the other people are children rather than adults. So very similar kind of stories, execution of stories, but so I'm getting 3-star vibes at the 25% mark. Hey guys, it is time to do the daily update on Wild Dark Shore. I got to 45% here on the Kindle, but now the pages are like equal, that this is page 134 and then there's page 134, so that's interesting. But we are going to go through my notes that I took today. You might hear my dog reverse sneezing in the background. It's just that time of year, I guess. But we have this one moment where Rowan is kind of like left alone at the house, and the dining table, she notices that it is like this oak kind of wood and it's been painted over, and she starts scrubbing the paint off of it. And I'm like, you're just making this difficult for you. You already know that you're kind of feuding with Dominic, who is the father of the family, and you're just going to start destroying his furniture. I'm like, why? Like, why would you do that? Like, even if you're at anybody's house, you're gonna be like, that piece of furniture is ugly, I'm gonna make it how I like it. Kind of strange. But then we have these albatross, is that what they're called? Kinds of birds that live on the island. Ari and Nicole, I think is how you would say it. They're nearly 50 years old, and I did not know birds in the wild could live that long. Now I know that like parrots and all can, live to be into their 50s and 60s and probably longer than that, but I did not realize birds in the wild can live that long as well. And we had this moment of Finn and Rowan talking about life on the island and how Finn doesn't know if she wants to leave and doesn't realize that this place she lives is so dangerous. Now, how is it dangerous? The rising sea levels, and it's a remote island out, obviously it's in the middle of nowhere because it's remote. And Rowan doesn't understand how Finn can't see that it is a dangerous place. But it's like, Finn came there as a little girl. She's, still a teenager, but she came there as a child. So it's pretty much all she has ever known. It is the only home she has really known. And I think a lot of times when you're going through something like, she lost her mother, that you really, and especially as a child, try to grip on to what you can. And I do think a location, nature can be that. Now, a popular quote here is, "Loving a place is the same as having a child. They are both too much an act of hope, of defiance, and those are a fool's weapons." So, yeah, that one is kind of spoilery. And now I am taking note of, like, I'm like, okay, this is the 20th chapter, because when I'm going to put my notes in Fable, I will get so confused because it's just names. And I'm like, okay, is this the right Dominic chapter that I'm clicking? Is this the right Rowan chapter that I'm clicking? So now I manually go and count. So I don't like that. I do not like that. Especially with the chapters being so short, and that's something where I think I might have talked about yesterday. There is a lack of consistency with the chapter lengths, because we will have some that will just be, we're going to say anywhere between 1 and 5 pages, then we'll go to Rowan's perspective and have a 20 to 30 page chapter. There is not consistency here. But as I told y'all, Dominic is obviously hiding something, and I do think the children know what it is that is being hidden, so that's kind of making me think some things over here. And then this last one that I have here that's not really spoilery is when we go to the seed vault for the first time, it like when we were going there, I didn't even realize that's where we were going, and when it happened, it was just so otherworldly. I was like, we are about to see something that we're not supposed to see. That's what I was feeling, that it's like this big secret, and it just going like deep into the earth. Like I thought it was just, you know, a building that is like, you know, any old laboratory, but how it is like in a cave, it just felt so otherworldly and ancient, even though obviously a seed vault isn't ancient, but it's supposed to be long lasting. It just, I don't have goosebumps, but it kind of makes me have that kind of feeling like, whoa, like ethereal, maybe internal. Yeah, there could be several words to describe that, but those are my thoughts at 45% of the way into the book. Again, I think it's fine, it's good, but I'm not loving a different angle. But the little boy was sleeping, and I'm not going to disturb him, even though I kind of did. But I do want to show y'all my book of the month package that we got this month, and it is right here. So I wasn't a huge fan of the picks this month, but I did want my add-ons, so I will get whichever book that I think sounds best. So I'm trying to show this. So we have the bookmark here that says book of the month, and it says Plotting My Next Escape. This was submitted by Danny K from Orlando, Florida, who's been a member since 2016. Awesome. Now the book that I did make my main pick is To the Moon and Back by Eliana Ramage, and this one just really seems like atmosphere, and if they came out years apart, I would kind of be questioning things. But it says one young woman's relentless quest to become the first Cherokee astronaut will alter the fates of the people she loves most in this tour de force about ambition, belonging, and family. So we did get that one. That was my main pick. And then my add-ons, this one I heard about on TikTok and I am excited about. It says, who would you rewrite history for? So we have, there's not like a little short blurb. I hate when they do that. Enter the time space, a soaring library filled with books containing the memories of those who have passed, and accessed only by specifically made watches, once handed down from father to son, but now mostly in government hands. This is where 11-year-old Lisavette Levy finds herself trapped in 1938, waiting for her watchmaker father to return. When he doesn't, she grows up among the books inspectors, able to see the world only by sifting through the memories of those who came before her. As she realizes that government agents are entering the time space to destroy books and maintain their preferred version of history, she sets about saving the scraps in her own volume of memories, until the appearance of an American spy named Ernest Duquesne in 1949 offers a glimpse of the world she left behind, setting her on a course to change her history and possibly the time space itself. So I think this is going to be really like powerful, because how we're seeing how one of my big themes lately in my reading is how history is written and what makes history, and we see like in museums constantly changing of what is on display and whatnot. So I do think that will be impactful. Then this is one that has been on my TBR while, because I was going through my TBR, just taking books off that I don't want on there anymore, and I saw this one was that book of the month, so I ordered it. This is The Mars Room by Rachel Kushner. This one is The Mars Room, a magnificent feat of witness and imagination, demonstrates new levels of mastery in Kushner's work. It is audacious and tragic, a propulsive and yet beautifully refined. As James Wood said in The New Yorker, Kushner's fiction succeeds because it is so full of vibrantly different stories and histories, all of them particular, all of them brilliantly alive. So those are the books I got from Book of the Month this month, and I will talk to y'all later. Also, since you know these vlogs are kind of like my diary, so if y'all remember a month ago I went to the bank to get the estate's account set. And because the lawyer told me, do not spend any of the money in that account, just use it for things that have to do with the estate, so like the car payments and all of that kind of thing. And so Honda, you know, were bugging me a few weeks ago about needing to they were wondering what I was going to do with the car, if I was going to pay it off, if I was going to sell it, whatever. But I guess I do have to pay it off. But so I was like, I can't pay it off until I had the checks. So when I went to the bank originally, it seemed like the guy had ordered me checks, and I've been waiting like a month because it was due for me to pay for the car last week, and I never got the checks. So I was going to go to the bank today anyway, but then the bank called me yesterday saying they had a question, and the question was like they needed some form or whatever, which unrelated to the checks. So the checks were never ordered. So that's annoying. Which I'm sure like it was an accident, all that, but yeah. When I've been waiting and turns out they were never ordered at all. So I am going to the bank later, not really anxious, because I know what I'm going to do. I just have to give them a file and they'll print it and all of that. But yeah. But yeah, the car is one of the biggest pain in the asses, but that is all. I'm gonna attempt to play Sims on my computer because I can't play Fortnite, which is really sad. And I was having this issue before the computer even like broke, was Fortnite would take half an hour to load up, and only like, let's say 1 out of 4 times would actually get me to the game itself. So I think my computer is just old, which I want to play Fortnite so freaking bad. That's when we got unhinged. I got unhinged right there because I met so many friends on Fortnite, and I love playing with friends. I love the social aspects of Fortnite, but my computer is just too old. My computer's nearly a decade old, and I begged my dad to get a computer, and he just will not do it. Like, he bought himself an iPad and a laptop all in that time, but won't buy me a computer. So one day, hopefully, I want an L-shaped desk with a computer where I can game, and then on the other will just be a screen, and my PlayStation will be connected to that because these eyes are not good. So I like to have my PlayStation game, because especially when you're aiming at stuff and all, I like to have it close up. So hopefully that does happen one day. But I'm gonna attempt Sims because Sims did load up. So hopefully we can play some Sims. I got to around 62% in Wild Dark Shore. So I will not be finishing the book in this vlog, but I will probably finish over the weekend. So I'm sorry, I'm not going to finish it in the vlog, but stay tuned to Goodreads, Fable, Storygraph. I will have a review up, and then obviously at the end of the month it will be in my wrap up. So I just want to go over my nose video. And guys, I'm cold. It got back to being hot here today, so I didn't get to read outside, but inside I am freezing. It is quite cold. So survival is one of the themes that I have picked up on in the book, and it's not even just survival. Like, there's multiple forms of survival we're seeing, of surviving dealing with grief, surviving after you lost someone that you love. It is something very hard to do, and here we're seeing it to an extreme, if I'm being honest with y'all. And survival of the unknown, because there's sometimes when something happens to you and you can't make sense of it, and you're just trying to get by day to day. We also have this climate change ravaged world with rising sea levels, so trying to survive throughout the impacts of climate change, whether it be wildfires, the rising sea levels. And then we had the island Shearwater itself that is trying to survive as the water is getting higher and higher, so therefore eroding the island, getting rid of the island. Erosion used to be a really big talking point here, but I don't really have family who live at the beach anymore, so maybe that's why I don't really hear about it, but erosion used to be a really big thing. And then we have a popular quote that says, "Is this how you feel after being swept in on a current? Will you change shape and put down roots, or carry on in search of somewhere better?" And one thing that is starting to annoy me, especially in Rowan and Dominic's chapters, we have, he's lying to me. I know he's lying to me. What's he lying to me about? And I'm like, okay, we know that he is lying, or that you think he is lying to you. Get to the point of get to figure it out. It's just, I'm like, okay. And like every other chapter with these characters, they're like, something's not up with them. something's not right here. I have to keep this secret from her because she'll get really upset if I don't tell her. And I'm just like, get to the point. It's getting repetitive, going in circles with that. Said we are just waiting for somebody to break and confess and tell whatever they're hiding. I think Roth's gonna be the one to do that. It just seems like he's very emotionally torn. He doesn't really know where to put his emotions, and he's starting to learn to put them in better things other than violence, and to actually be able to speak about his emotions. So I do think he's going to be the one to crack. Also, we have this quote about grief. He's the one who's here. She hasn't been here in years, but we're all completely obsessed with her. I think about how she is here among us, how even I, who have never met her, feel her presence. That's grief, I said simply. And that is another part of the story, is grief and how it takes on in different forms. And we're seeing, as I said, at an extreme of being so obsessed with somebody even though they're gone and not moving on. I don't think you ever move on after you lose somebody. I think there's always going to be emotions and things like people I have lost years ago, and I will still, I mean, obviously I don't cry every time I think of them, which if you do, that's okay, but and sometimes I will just be in line at the grocery store and be thinking about someone or something, because I don't think I think grief can be about experiences and whatever, and I'll just be there in my car and I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm about to start crying in the line at the grocery store. Grief is not a linear thing, but I do think you learn how to control it better, and you learn how to handle it and be at one with it. But yeah, we're seeing how these people, I don't think, have handled it well, and it's gonna be interesting to see where it goes. But yeah, those are my notes. Again, this is giving 3-star vibes. I am completely stunned because it was so hyped up. I've heard that a lot of people having this book as one of their favorite books of the year. It's not really doing that for me personally, but if you loved it, I am so happy for you that you found a book that you love and have a new favorite book, because honestly, that is one of the best feelings in the world. It is. But I'm not going to be ending the vlog here because I should get to a quarter into Beverly Bonnefinche's Dead later, and I will update y'all on that. But right now I'm just going to feed the cats, have some dinner, and I don't know what I'm going to do after that. I'm not going to game because I did work on Sims, and create a sim worked well, so hopefully once we're in the player actually playing, it will work. But sitting on this stool, there's no back, so it hurts my back when I'm sitting there for too long. And yeah, I was so sore today, so I don't want to sit there for hours on end when I've already played for about an hour today. I've made it to about 30% into Beverly Bonnefinche's Dead, so I want to go through my thoughts so far. So the character is extremely relatable, but she does get a bit unhinged at times, but I do want to talk about how she is relatable. So if you're somebody with social anxiety, here you go, you will feel represented. But especially so she is a year younger than me, but kind of changing gears here. So if you like Get a Life, Chloe Brown, I think you might like this book. But when you were at a stage like in your 20s and you're like, nothing's happening for me, and I know a lot of people, especially in Gen Z, tend to feel this way, and I think COVID did have an impact on that. But I do think it's something that probably has happened with every generation, but I think with COVID that just amplified everything, because life kind of was on pause for a minute. So everybody's like, okay, I'm 25. I'm not 25, but you know, for the sake of the book, I'm 25, I'm living at home, I'm working a retail job, I don't have a partner, I don't have any friends. What is there left for me in this world? Because people don't realize that 25 is still so young. You have a whole life ahead of you, and everything that is happening for a reason. But okay, that's getting way philosophical. So our character Beverly, as I said, she's 25, she's living at home, she's working at a bookstore, she hates people. She has one friend who is a homeless guy, and then a guy comes into the bookshop one day, and she has no idea how to handle that this man is flirting with her and what to do about it. It's kind of cute to think about. But as I said, so she is really relatable, and about dating and getting into relationships, you're so scared of what that other person's going to think of you. You're scared that they're going to think you're weird or you're gross because habits you might have. And the habit in here, y'all saw my reaction earlier. I was not expecting it at all, and I've never read anything like it. But yeah, dating and making friendships as well is scary. You never know what that other person's going to be like going into it, and you don't know what that person's going to think of you, and you're wanting to leave a good impression on them, and it's scary. Let me tell y'all, it is scary. So that is just so relatable. If you're like in your mid-20s, I think you're gonna like that. But as I said, she does get a bit unhinged and very judgmental towards other people, but she is self-aware, knowing I shouldn't be thinking this. This is rude of me to think like this. And she does get called out about it, being like, hey, maybe you shouldn't be as judgmental. So for me reading, I'm just, oh, you know, jolting. I don't like that. And then I'm like, okay, she's self-aware. She knows that this isn't right. As for atmosphere, this is taking place in Newport, Rhode Island. I don't think it plays a huge part in the story, but our character, Beverly, she does work at a bookstore. So if you do like bookstore and characters who do love reading, and you're going to get a lot of mentions of books. But yeah, she does remind me of like Carrie from Stephen King. I'm looking at it over there. Beverly Marsh, major Beverly Marsh vibes. I don't know the name Beverly's intentional or not, but yeah, there's a lot of Stephen King references in here, but it does take place in New England, and Stephen King is from New England. I was going to say he's the king of New England, but I don't want to go that far. Writing, I have no complaints about. The writing is fine. The plot, now there is a lot of intrigue here because I don't even know what genre this is supposed to be. I don't remember if I had it listed as thriller or romance, but I think it's going to kind of be mixing around with those, and maybe some magical realism as well. Like Ashley Poston's another one who this reminds me of. What was that book I read? It's over there. The Dead Romantics. It reminds me of that one because there is a now and there is a before. So we do have two timelines, and I don't know what the author's doing with that. I don't know where this is going to go. I'm really intrigued to see what is happening there. So yes, I am really enjoying this book, especially because of the character work, but it's not fully hitting, you know, like it's not a 5-star, I mean, at the moment anyway, and usually around 25% I know, so it's in the 4-star category at the moment. But that is going to be the vlog. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Let's see, I have not read over 100 pages any day this week. While Dark Shores is doing that to me, I have hauled. Y'all know I didn't vlog Monday, but I did go to Barnes & Noble on Monday. Stay tuned on TikTok to see more about that. And I did get my book of the month package today. Next week's vlog, I am going to be focusing on my nonfiction pick of the month, and that is Kidnap, and that is it's a true crime nonfiction from the 60s that is about Charles Lindbergh. His baby was kidnapped and murdered, and it's just going into, you know, a true crime book about that crime, which was at the time like the crime of the century back in, I think it was the 1930s when it originally happened. But I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you made it all the way through, leave a leaf emoji in the comments below, and as always, comment, rate, and subscribe, and don't forget to ring that notification bell to be notified when all my videos go live. I'll see you in my next one. Bye.